Hello there. Whether you live in the EU or not, the bloc has a lot of power in governing the way that the internet works, and they are very trigger happy with their regulations. Pretty much the one thing that the EU can produce. Not talking about the member states, just the institution. So, this is from Reclaim the Net. The EU uses invasive ad targeting to push misinformation about its proposed anti-privacy laws. And I'm bringing it up today, despite the fact that it's from 2023, because it seems as though we have a conclusion to this legal battle about the legality of the measures that the EU has taken in order to try and push the chat control legislation forward. So, it says here that the European Union's credibility is taking another hit as the bloc feverishly looks to rein in digital platforms, but also its very own member states. However, in this process, it has reportedly managed to out itself as one of those that want others to do as it says, but not as it does. So, how do you say hypocrisy in EU speak? The gist is that just as it is trying very hard to usher in the new rules, that opponents say are seriously undermining citizens' privacy online, all the while with the excuse of thinking of the children by targeting platforms that offer encryption and privacy, the EU is resorting to some of the exact same tricks it is accusing those platforms of. So, essentially, they decided to do a ad targeting campaign using people's personal data, which is against the laws of the EU. This is the conclusion of the decision against them. In conclusion, the EDPS finds that the Commission has infringed Articles 41A, 42, 5, 10, 1, and 26 of the regulation by unlawfully processing the complainant's personal data, including special categories of personal data, without a valid legal basis, in the context of the targeted advertising campaign that the Commission ran on the social media platform X. So, this is the decision that was handed down. The European Data Protection Supervisor submitted the complaint submitted by NYOB, None of Your Business. It's a group that's trying to fight for privacy and freedom of speech. European Center of Digital Rights on behalf of Redacted against the European Commission. And essentially, the European Commission lost. They did do a targeted ad campaign where basically they took personal data off you in order to decide what to tell you, whether the reasoning that you needed to support this new legislation was Christian or Muslim, whether to use the name of a specific candidate for or against in the argument, anything, the party you vote for, your political leanings, your place of residence, the language of the ad. They literally targeted everything based on the data they got from harvesting data on X, and then they essentially made an ad personalized for you to try and push this legislation despite the fact that people didn't want it. So they broke their own privacy laws, and they, got nothing as punishment, honestly. Slap on the wrist. They have been reprimanded, which is nothing. That said, I do believe that this will at least give some ammunition in a debate to the opposing side. It's natural, your own institution has declared against you on the issue of privacy. Basically, the entire legislation tries to ban encrypted messaging. So, if you're talking about, let's see where we have the names of the companies, right? WhatsApp, iMessage, etc. Any messaging up with any kind of encryption suddenly shed this fundamental piece of internet safety for the sake of meeting EU's allegedly child-friendly concerns. How can anyone in good faith argue against that? Must have been the thought process over in Brussels when this idea first came up. Well, a lot of people can, and they include not only individual internet security researchers, other scientists, but also privacy regulators and even EU Council's own lawyers. That's from the article from 2023, and it was prophetic, it seems, because we do have now a decision laid down against the European Commission. They also talk about how it's stupid to run an ad campaign on X, Twitter, of all places, The social platform Brussels for some reason loves to hate ever since Elon Musk acquired it. I'd say it is stupid because X tends to be more transparent than other apps, making it easier for individuals and organizations to try to push for free speech and privacy to get the data they need in order to meet you in court, as happened this time. Now, essentially, they're saying that they were basically trying to push back on it. It says here, within the EU, the proposal heavily dependent on AI, which is well known for being inaccurate to say the least, with a great number of potentially damning false positives, met with opposition and a lot of procedural arm wrestling. The latest attempt to get things done failed. Bright and early, on September 15, the EU's response was to take these considerations to heart and rethink, rewrite the legal proposal. Now it appears to have been to launch a targeted paid ad campaign against citizens in dissenting countries. I love this. It's not even an EU-wide campaign, no. Specifically, the people that disagree, or rather the people in the countries that the politicians want to go along with it, we're going to try and create social pressure to force you to do so. Essentially through ratings. Your ratings will drop because people will be brainwashed by the EU Commission against their own leaders. Truly amazing. I mean, if you think about it, someone that trusts the EU Commission more than their own government might consider this a good thing. But honestly, I don't. I believe that you should have the least amount of power in the hands of the people that are the furthest from you in terms of power and accountability. Meaning that if the EU Commission, you as a citizen in a specific European country, have very little influence on and the ability to hold them accountable, then they shouldn't have much power over you. The most power should be in the hands of those that you directly choose and can do away with by simply voting against next election. Basically, the more degrees of separation between you and whoever's making the rules, the less power they should have. That's my personal creed on this. If, on the other hand, you are a pro-European Union, pro-bureaucracy person, you believe that they are the experts who are trustworthy and that the politicians that basically the directly elected politicians are the ones that are corrupt, never the further away bureaucrats on the EU, then obviously your mileage might vary. You might truly believe that allowing these technocrats to essentially make the rules for the internet, for what is and is not allowed to be said, and how and where, and to allow them to listen in on every single conversation you ever had, or that anyone ever had for any reason, at any time. That might sound like a good idea to you. Honestly, I believe that this is the major divide between left and right today. Simply, do you trust the institutions, the government, the European Commission, the World Health Organization, the UN, etc., or do you distrust them? And those that have a strong distrust are right-wing, those who have a strong trust are left-wing, and moderates are basically people who are in the middle. They look with some mistrust at either or both, or they are too naive to mistrust either or both. Although I don't understand how can you be at all interested in politics and not realize that the people in power have their own agenda. That seems far-fetched to me, but obviously there will be some people like that. Regardless, the main takeaway I have from this is that we need more social pressure, specifically from within the EU, from the people who have the power to elect representatives to the European Union, to the people of Europe, the citizens. We need more pushback in order to stop them trying to censor the internet, because they have been and they will continue to do so. And I would rather the internet stayed uncensored. Honestly, I think we need to roll back a lot of the totalitarian speech laws that currently exist and allow free debate to come back, because I don't think anyone benefits other than the people in power from censorship. Even if you are left-wing, you should at the very least fear the possibility that the right takes over and uses your own laws against you. Should also want to deal with the most robust right-wing argument in order to create the most defensible and how to put it, perfected left-wing argument. If you simply silence your opposition, then glaring holes in your own worldview and the measures you wish to take could be left unchecked. On the other hand, if you have to constantly spar with the opposition, then obviously these weaknesses of yours will be hammered by them until you come up with good solutions or change your mind. That's the obvious. I'd say the free marketplace of ideas is essential for any successful government policies, but I suppose you could look at things differently. If you believe in safetyism, then to you debate is dangerous and should be avoided. Honestly, I don't understand the mentality that words are so dangerous, they should absolutely be thwarted for the good of the people. But what do I know? I'm not part of the EU, I don't get a word in this, and even if they do decide to go with the worst option and allow these things to keep rolling, so long as we at least get a populist in the White House, I think we should be fine for now. Thanks for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.